And then we're gonna leave it alone and never use it again.
Okay, no.
I'm actually roasting my first cycle for the day.
Okay.
So I'm roasting the Pantheon blend. Anything that I roast in this machine is gonna be for this location. However, I'm gonna step back for about 2 minutes just to make sure that my turnaround, when my coffee when it stops decreasing in temperature, begins to increase in temperature, comes in at the right time that I need it to, so I can sort of focus my time here and not worry too much about my roast. Okay. So if you give me like 2 minutes, I'll come back and I'll do a show.
Take your time.
Thank you. So like what's important, what's happening right now is the thermocouple. This little device here measures if there's no beans in there, it measures the drum air temperature. But if beans fall in there and it starts touching it, then it measures the bean temperature itself. So when all those coffee beans come in, the drum is already at about 350 degrees Fahrenheit. The second those beans drop in, it starts to absorb a lot of heat and it starts to decrease incredibly fast. When it stops decreasing at a certain point in the roast and begins to increase, it is effectively turned around. And if it turns around at the right time and at the right temperature that I want it to, then everything else in the roast is going to roast very nice. So see, now it's starting to turn around. And there you go. That's all I needed to know. And because I have an idea of how that turnaround is going, based on the data that we've collected over the weeks of roasting this coffee, I can set at what temperature I want that coffee to quench. You know, for example, like the quenching time here is set at a certain temperature. I decided to add a ½ degree to it because I know that based on yesterday's roast, that I got like a really nice roast out of my coffee. I let it sit for another second. And you'd be surprised how much of a difference a second makes when it comes to roasting coffee. But with that being said, now that we actually started, finally should start this show. So this is a roast progression.
How long is this process?
I'm sorry?
How long is this process?
12 minutes. Yeah. So this is called the roast progression. So this is basically a visual step-by-step process that coffee goes through from the very beginning until 12 minutes afterwards. And usually it's never that exact. Sometimes it's 12 and a half minutes, sometimes it's 11 and a half minutes, sometimes it's 11:49. It just depends on the roast, right? But all coffee starts out as seeds inside coffee cherries. So the farmers will pick at the cherries, they'll break it open, and they'll come out not like this, but with they're like seeds inside husks. They'll clean it up, make sure that it's ready to go, and they send it to us in these big burlap sacks. So all of this here is just raw coffee. This is coming from Colombia. So this is from different Colombian farms that are sent to us so we can roast pike place downstairs. Anything that I roast on here is going to be reserved coffee, so that just means that this is single origin, small lot batches. That means one farm from one country, except for this particular one, I guess. This one's 3 different farms in one, because usually every roastery has their own house blend. So this is the Pantheon blend. So it's like a combination of the Panama Carmen Estate coffee, the Brazilian California Estate coffee, and then the Colombia Co-op, Huela Co-op coffee mixed together. And eventually, those 3 individual components will then be shared to the customers individually in conjunction with this blend. So you can really taste those differences. Flex Tech will then cut underneath it, all the coffee drops into the cake, and the chain bay picks it up, drops it into the chain bay, and it continues. Now, if it's coffee for me specifically, it'll drop off into these gray silos. If it's reserved coffee for the big machine, it'll drop into the black silos. But if it's for Pike Place, it'll continue going and drop it off into those black silos. And then once everything is loaded up and ready to go, I'll take a certain amount of coffee from those silos, put it up to here, and drop it. And as it drops in there, over the course of 12 minutes, these seeds will start to absorb heat. It becomes endothermic, and it starts changing color, aroma, size, where it finally pops open, lets water out, and then from this point on, if it's a light, medium, or dark roast, sort of varies at this stage. And then once everything is said and done, we'll put water in it to stop it from roasting. It'll drop into here to cool off, and then I'll sample it to make sure that I did my job correctly, and I'll send it to the back room where it'll spend 8 days degassing before we shoot it through these tubes over to the cafe on that side. I'm gonna go ahead and put this away, so if you want to take pictures, now's your chance. Because right now we're hitting the yellow stage, and I want to take that out so you can see what yellow stage smells like, because it's not coffee. It doesn't smell like coffee at all.
doesn't smell like coffee.
You're going to notice, well, it took me 4 minutes for this coffee to actually start changing color. Now that it's actually officially endothermic, absorbing heat, it's now changing color faster and faster. It kind of has this grainy, nutty kind of smell to it. Un poco, son un poco deliciosos como galletas. Cada vez que me lo huelo, yo quiero comer las galletas, ¿eh? So what's happening is we're going from that yellow stage towards the pre-pop stage. So it's going to keep absorbing that heat because it's endothermic, right? And at a certain temperature point, as it takes in that heat, it's building pressure inside that coffee bean. Once there's enough pressure set inside at a certain temperature point, it's then going to suddenly pop open, and we call that sequence first pop. Because then once that pop opens, all this water starts coming out because it's exothermic, and then the bean, the integrity of the bean starts to weaken, hence making it easier to actually grind that coffee and actually extract some really sweet flavors from it. Starting to darken, right? Now the aroma, I can tell there's differences, but I've been doing this for a while now. The aroma is starting to change, but it's subtle, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Most a fokozatokat mutatja? Majd elmondod, hogy miket mondod, de nagyon érdekel. Jó, YouTube-ra fölteszem. Fölvesz a
You
YouTube-on.
see how it's changing, right?
Incredible.
It's nice, right? Now notice one thing about this coffee. While it is getting darker, you notice how those beans are very tightly woven. They're very it's like close fisted, right? The next time I take it out, it's going to look a little bit different from there because of that first pop. So lucky for us, the P25 is a very small machine, hence it's a very quiet machine. So that means that you'll actually be able to hear first pop happening inside. Now I know we're reaching first pop because I already heard the first two beans sort of crack open. So I'm going to try to point it out. Oh. So this is the awkward moment where I stay quiet and I look out in the distance. You hear that? And it's going to that first pop at the time that I need it to. You hear that, right? But remember when I mentioned that turnaround? If that coffee came in too fast, this first pop would have happened a lot earlier, and that would not have been a good thing for me. I would have to focus more on the roast and changing things. But now it's went into first pop, it's becoming exothermic.
Veszi be magával, de...
See that? So what you're seeing is water escaping the coffee via steam. So all that water is coming out because that coffee is exothermic. And because it's exothermic, it's now releasing about 390 to 400 degrees Fahrenheit of heat coming out. So in order to ensure that this coffee doesn't over roast too quickly, as this coffee pops open, the burner underneath starts to die down a little. So this coffee is increasing in temperature, but the burner now starts to decrease to about 200 degrees, 150 degrees Fahrenheit.
La temperatura del café cuando se leva, el vapor que se está
Give it a smell. And like you take a look, you see how the beans are more open now?
and open. My God.
Egyre jobban jön ki a kávé. A kávé illat egyre jobban jön elő. Én még sosem láttam így a folyamatot és összekötő szöveggel. Hú, ezt le kell majd fordítani, Zsolti.
open. Now, what's vital, what's important about first pop is that now at this point, at least in the United States, when it comes to roasting coffee, what I do after that point determines if it's a light, medium, or dark roast. Because usually when first pop happens, that water's getting released. It's easy to grind the coffee because the body bean integrity is now weaker. But on top of that, those sugars are getting caramelized. It's getting very sweet. So if I was looking to make a very sweet, juicy, acidic kind of coffee, I'd probably be finishing up very soon, because I don't want to go further beyond that first pop. But if I'm looking for just a little bit more body, a little bit more nuttiness, a little bit more chocolate flavor, I might let it touch second pop, which happens if you keep roasting it, and then take it out. But if I want a coffee with a heavy body and a punch to it, I'm going to keep going beyond that second pop, because that keeps changing that flavor. Now the good thing is this coffee is a bit of a darker roast, so I'll actually be able to show you what that second pop looks like. So if everyone can kind of like scrunch in a little bit, because I'm going to put it right here, okay?
Hogy tömörödjünk össze, mert itt tudja megmutatni, hogy milyen az, amikor a második ilyen kipattanás. Itt tudja megmutatni.
Alright, watch this. Ready? Hear that sound? That second pop. That second pop forces the bean to open up even wider. The body starts to lose even more integrity, but the flavor changes. So now the flavor is a lot more chocolate, more full body, a little bit more mellow, a little bit punchier because of that process. The lipids inside become more viscous, so they come out as coffee oils. But because we don't want it to be too dark, we're going to quench that coffee. So the arms are moving, which means that we're putting water in our coffee to stop it from roasting. So if you want to take a video, a photo, or do boomerang for Instagram, I say get ready right now, because in the next 20 seconds, that door's going to open up and let coffee fall into our cooling tray.
Nagyon percen belül megnyílik a és most, hogy elkészült, vizet raknak rá, és ott lesz.
Vizet?
Ja.
Oda leesik a motorból.
És fogják legúbb, mert most nagyon fontos, hogy ne rostolódjon tovább, hogy gyorsan legyen.
Give it another 10 seconds. Should be coming out. It should be coming out now.
Ennyire fontosak a percek.
Másodpercek.
So while I did quench this coffee with water, it's only about a half gallon of water that I spray onto the coffee. So if you're like, you know, water plants with like a mister, that's what it's doing. It's putting a mist on the water to stop it from getting any hotter. That way we get to preserve the flavor that we're looking for, and we can keep ourselves consistent with our taste, right? But because we only put a little bit of water, that coffee only reduces by 50 degrees. So this coffee is still at about 360 degrees Fahrenheit right now. So in order to ensure that it continues cooling down, there's a fan underneath here that turns on and creates a vacuum and pulls out as much hot air as possible. But just to prove a point, I'm going to have you touch this coffee. It's safe to touch. It's vital that as you start to feel that coffee, those beans, and like how hot it is, it's very vital that at this stage you try to cool it down. Because if we don't cool this coffee down, the amount of heat that's still emanating from it will cause this pile to go back into roasting. And if I let it sit until 500 degrees Fahrenheit, then that coffee becomes combustible. So hopefully y'all brought your marshmallows and graham crackers, because then we'll have a nice bonfire, and then we'll share, right? The good thing is, this is only 30 pounds of coffee. If I had a malfunction with my fan, it would take about an hour, and by that time it would have already resolved that problem. But that's why in the bigger plants, where they're working with 800 pounds per cycle, 4 to 5 million pounds per week, they have a top on that tray that has 4 quench rods attached to an emergency water tank system. So that if anything like that were to happen, we pull the lever and water flows in. Because safety is more important than coffee. We just gotta make sure that that's always taken care of. And so the only thing left for me to do as a roaster is to take a sample of coffee, grind it over there, sample it to make sure that my coffee color matches what Starbucks wants for this coffee, and then that's it. I'll get it destoned, I'll send it to the vacuum over there where it'll degas for 8 days, and then it'll shoot through these tubes where our lovely baristas will then give you a very fresh, very nice cup of coffee. Any questions? Cool. All right. Here's the bonus round. So I'm gonna pass this coffee around, and I want everyone to take a little bit of coffee. Okay? I got 2 rules. Number 1, don't eat the coffee beans. They're very fresh. There's a lot of carbon dioxide inside, so it can be dry on the throat. And then number 2, give it a smell. Don't break the coffee open. Just smell it and see what aroma you get from your coffee. Okay? Just give it a nice smell.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course, it's my pleasure.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome, everybody. Now take a smell. And I want everyone to be 110% honest with me, okay? Be real with me. What kind of smell are you getting? Anything that comes to mind? Caramel? What else? If you don't smell anything, that's also a valid answer too. You don't smell anything? Who agrees with them that they don't smell anything? Raise your hand. I want to see it.
Smells like coffee.
Smells like coffee? You agree with them? Alright. Congratulations, you won. Technically, you shouldn't be able to smell anything. If anything, you might be smelling your hand because that water, when it quenches that coffee, actually stops it from being able to emit any smells. That's why we give that coffee 8 days later, because there's so much carbon dioxide stuck inside, it needs time for it to come out. If we grind this today, it'll ruin the flavor, so we gotta wait. But if you really want to see what that's gonna smell like in 8 days, now we're gonna break the coffee open. So there's a little seam on the back of your coffee bean. Take your thumb, break through it, and now smell it.
Break it open.
And then tell me what aroma you get.
Oh, yeah.
Now it smells like coffee, no? Yo te ayudo. Acá de vuelta. Se huele como café, ¿no? So all the coffee that we serve to our customers here happens about 8 days after the fact. It's all stuck inside. I always like doing this because it's a fun little test. I apologize about the sound. Anytime you load new coffee in, the pucks start to vibrate when it's just starting to get weight, and it makes this horrible sound. I think later next week we're going to fix that. It just, unfortunately, in order to fix that, you have to shut the whole shop down, bring it all down, and fix it. So it's hard to. So we're dealing with real factory problems, and I apologize for the noise, but it should go away very soon.
Did they just complete the roast there too?
Yeah. So this roaster here roasts for this store. That big roaster down there roasts for other Starbucks stores on the East Coast.
Okay, but they just finished the roasting since the.
Yeah, he's cooling down right now. Yeah. Yeah. Same thing. Like we're doing the same thing, just different sizes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's my pleasure, man. Of course. Yeah, of course. My pleasure. All right. If you all got any questions, you can definitely come back and ask me anytime, okay? Yeah, of course.